Lex from Bored at Work, and today we have a battle vid of the S6 and the iPhone 6. Now this isn't new, there are tons of videos out there comparing the two, but we took a little bit of a different approach. We individually tested each device multiple times, going back and forth with the S6 and the iPhone 6, and comparatively they are very beautiful and great devices, and we're getting down to the hardware comparisons here in the video. At the bottom, Samsung held no qualms about stealing that design from Apple. They just completely took the outer layering of the construction and copied it on the S6, even as far to go with the SIM card slot, which is just boggles my mind, but Samsung does what they do best. And on the back you have some differences as well. You do have the pixel count for the cameras and the location different, also the Gorilla Glass 4.0 on the back. You do have the IR blaster on top of the S6, and that's where the NFC is located on the iPhone 6. Now comparatively their displays are completely different. Apple calls their display the Retina. You have a QHD 2K on the S6, and it just blows the iPhone out of the water. There's no comparison. You have a pixel count of about 577 on the S6, and it looks as if it's fake. That's how great the display is on the S6. Now the iPhone 6 isn't a bad display, but it can definitely be updated to modern times when there's QHD displays out there. Thinness, Samsung one-upped Apple with a 6.8mm profile, with the iPhone 6 having a 6.9, but you cannot feel the difference. But there is more of a heft to the S6 with that aluminum side coating versus the Apple iPhone 6 being a little bit smaller display and overall smaller construction. But from the hardware, those are their main pinpoints. Individually, the S6 is a beautiful device from Samsung, and it hasn't been since the Samsung Blackjack on AT&T that I felt this much allure and appreciation for the design of the Samsung device. The display combined with this aluminum finish with Gorilla Glass 4.0 kind of compacting those together, it is a marvel to hold in your hand. It's better than the iPhone 6, especially in this review. I'm going to say that from the beginning. Even though the back is slippery, having the white model removes the smudges and the coatings, and it's just a nice device to have outdoors, indoors, and it's a solid build construction. It's something I haven't been able to say for Samsung from a long time. The button tactile feedback is on point, and it's just a great overall in-hand device from Samsung. Don't get me wrong, the iPhone 6 is still a top-level flagship device that is premium all around. It definitely feels more premium overall than the S6 because of the stark contrast from Samsung's previous years. I guess it takes away from the appreciation of the iPhone 6, so I may sound a bit biased when I'm saying this, but the iPhone 6 still has a solid build. It's one of the lightest, most powerful devices out in the market, undoubtedly, and it has a smaller profile, so it definitely fits better in the hand. But overall feel, I am giving it to the S6 in this category. There's no way you can talk about the Samsung Galaxy S6 without talking about its QHD 2K display. It's just impossible. The screen is packing about 577 pixels per inch, and with that you're getting a display that is so realistic and I guess vibrant with Samsung's colors and their Super AMOLED that it looks fake at times. It almost looks like one of those dummy units that you see in store before you actually get your hands on a unit. Sensitivity is almost on another level as well. There were times where it was too sensitive because of how responsive it is, and to compact that into I guess a body that's that small shows you how advanced this device is. This is packing top level specs, and you cannot discredit Samsung for adding such a powerful display combined with such a nice construction with it, and definitely gets the Bored at Work thumbs up here. Now when it comes to the iPhone 6, you do have a very similar construction as well, but the display is only at 720p and it is a Retina display, and with that you get a pixel density that's still 326, but they call it Retina HD because it has a little bit more pixels per inch than a 720p because of the size of the iPhone 6. Overall, it's still a great display. I can't take that away from Apple, but it being 2015 and there are devices that are not even flagship running 2K in the market today, just adds less credence to the fact that this justifies Apple putting a display like this on the iPhone 6. Hopefully in the future, and I don't want a 6S model with an update on the display, Apple just makes it standard to have at least 1080p in a world of smartphones that has QHD displays out there. Touch ID is one of the favorite assets to my iPhone 6, and using it, I cannot use another device without a fingerprint scanner as good as the Touch ID on the iPhone. And as you can see, using the process, it's pretty basic. You add it on, you get a certain amount of add-ons to add another fingerprint to the system, and you have it set for your iPhone 6. Samsung held no qualms in taking that concept and just stealing it right from the iPhone 6. So this is where I'm going to give this category to Apple here. Samsung has done this traditionally and habitually, where they'll just flat out take a feature. As you can see in the video, look at the process. It's almost exactly the same. There's no differentiation. There is the same adding a fingerprint, the same tapping on the button to add it. It's the same UI. I mean, and for that, I cannot respect Samsung. Now, don't get me wrong, the Touch ID on the Samsung device has been greatly improved. It's almost comparable or on par to Touch ID on the iPhone 6. It's not as integrated into the operating system, which makes Touch ID that much better. But from a standpoint of versatility and usability, it is on par. And I actually like using it better at times because it is raised and not recessed into the bottom of the device. So it's easy to find, and you do get a haptic feedback when using it. This category will have a lot of Apple fanboys out there, myself included, feel betrayed because the Samsung Galaxy S6 camera UI and camera itself is better. I'm going to say that from the beginning. It is a better camera. The pictures come out more vibrant, more detailed, and on the QHD display, they only look better on the S6. Now the camera UI is pretty basic. It's using a lollipop material design reference when you go deeper into it, so that does assist in using the camera. For basic consumer, you do have voice controls, volume keys, and there on the display you do have different filters and timers. Now these are pretty standard, but again, Samsung just took the way that you see the filters on the display for the camera UI, but it works, so I really have no complaints. Now you do have a Pro system in the camera that allows you to adjust ISO and contrasting lighting conditions on the fly. Slow motion on the camera is amazing. We do have some samples. It's on par with iPhone 6's 240 frames per second. The gallery you have access to, that's one of my tattoos I'm going to be getting changed, as well as just traditional functionality, but it is on Android, so you saw that force close, which is very unfortunate and which happens consistently, so Apple does have it beat there. The camera UI on the iPhone 6 is bare bones. It's smooth, but it isn't advanced. You can barely change settings. Flash, HDR, those are common themes now in mobile devices. The filter system, which you saw on the S6, is here as well. It originated with the iPhone, so I'm going to give that to Apple. And transitioning between modes is very simple and gesture-based, so I do give that as well to Apple. Cameras and video are great. That's not the case here. It's comparing how great the camera and video quality is to each device, and the Samsung S6 is better. Not by much, but it is better. I feel as if because of the iPhone community, I think it's easier to use the camera UI, but it isn't made in a way to help the great photographers out there that know how to use camera settings and things of that nature. So S6 for the win here. 6 and the Samsung Galaxy S6 are both great devices. Either or, depending on what you like, what you don't like. Either one is definitely the best out of their respective categories in the mobile market today, and that's a fact. But when it comes to a comparison between the current status of each, I'm going to be giving it to the Samsung Galaxy S6. It is an amazing device. It shows what Samsung could possibly do when they put their heads together and stop being lazy, and actually it focused on things that matter to consumers now. There have been some things taken away from the S6, like a removable battery and expanded storage, and that's more of a business aspect decision by Samsung and less as and more relative to their hardware decisions for the device, as I'm sure they could have placed one inside. But in terms of base model, you do get 32 gigabytes of storage. So overall, I think the Samsung S6 is a hit, and it is a better overall device than the iPhone 6 when it comes to overall features and just quality of a product. It seems that much more time was put into the S6 than the iPhone 6, and on the level of just what you buy and what you get, you're definitely getting a lot more value out of the Samsung S6. Now, some may differ, and that's okay. Comment in the section below. Let us know what you think. This is Lex from Bored at Work, and remember to always enjoy your entertainment and press that subscribe button if you like what you saw today. Thanks, folks.